Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the International Online Conference on Renewable Music. I am delighted to see both familiar faces and participants from all over the world. We are pleased to have you with us to discuss new ideas in music and ecology. Due to cancellation of some presentations, today's session will be slightly shorter than originally planned. Please refer to the updated version of the program on our website at www.renmus.eu. Now it is my pleasure to hand over to Dr. Mieczysław Kominek, President of the Polish Composers Union, who will welcome and introduce our keynote speaker.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of the second day, a keynote speech will be delivered by Professor Marek Chołoniewski from the Krzysztof Penderecki Academy of Music in Krakow. Marek Chołoniewski, composer and a performing musician, is one of those artists who explore and look for the new. After all, his composition teacher was Bogusław Szefer, the guru of Polish new music, and one of his closest artistic friends is the avant-garde pioneer in Poland, Krzysztof, with whom Chołoniewski prepared numerous musical projects, the most spectacular of which was probably Freight Train, a kind of constantly changing introduction. This is one of three forms of contemporary music in which Marek Chołoniewski seems to feel particularly good, the other two being audiovisual composition and electroacoustic music. He has been composing the latter since 1976 at the Electroacoustic Music Studio of the Academy of Music in Krakow, of which he has been the director since 2000. Head of the Audiosphere Lab at the Intermediate Department of Fine Arts Academy in Krakow. Founder and president of the Polish Society for Electroacoustic Music. He is a secretary of International Confederation of Electroacoustic Music, director of Audio Art Festival in Krakow. He received honorable award of the Polish Composers Union in 2006 and 2023 year award of the same Polish Composers Union, award of the Ministry of Culture and National Heritage, as well as the Independent Project Grant of the CEC Artist Link in New York. Oof.
Yes, oof. I have all of this in one box, Mieczysław, and sometimes I forget about this, but fortunately I have them listed, so that's correct.
Marek, you're welcome.
Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me, because that's an amazing opportunity. Also, the context is very special. To be honest, on the first moment, I was not quite clear what does it mean, renewable music, and I would not say that I still don't know exactly, but because then I will collapse a little bit. But in fact, I will show you in my presentation how I understand this, because that's quite an important issue, and they have very special links and references. So. Partly I will talk about my projects as we talked with Mieczysław several months ago, but partly I would like to extend them toward other aspects. Let's show the beginning, because I'm not sure whether whether the list, the right column, whether it appears anywhere, because I sent them several months ago as an abstract instead of abstract. This is not abstract. This is like a list of topics. Some of them are clear. What they mean. Some of them are a little bit not hazy, but underlinked. They are interconnected between them. So I also have some concern. I found out that Rhizomatic, sorry, it can be also rhizomic. Rhizomatic perspective is written using capital letter on an official program. I wrote them by small letter. That's another issue. Sometimes it works with our unconscious, mostly not really delivered in front of us quite clearly. So for me, it doesn't matter. Just to make a first conclusion, both versions are clear. If I miss something, if something is not quite clear, I would be happy even to stop at the moment of this communication between my brain, the talk I'm talking, and the delivery. So when you will feel unsure what I said, or I think that would be better. Or Mieczysław, what do you prefer? Or we can do it after my speech, so on the end. That's up to you, but I'm ready to stop. I like the vivid and active presentations. While because I'm talking head, unfortunately. So when I start, I talk. The words are moving out, and sometimes I follow them, sometimes not. Sometimes I'm collapsing. Sometimes I'm loop them. One of my lecture, I was very close to do it today, is to use my brain sensor live. So during my speech, you hear as a sound structure the activity of my brain. So it's like a parallel. But in this lecture, which I made, and part of those keynotes are the keywords are just from this lecture. I'm doing this very fast, many times, slowing down. So on the first moment, you cannot capture. So it's like wait a minute, I can open it. Do you see the main site now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So look, when I do like this, and then I go like this, and then I go like this. Okay, and then I go like this. This is the idea. Sometimes you stay a little bit longer, sometimes shorter. So it goes, and this is quite specific way of exploration, our memory, but also our accuracy and the way you are able to follow. So this is my presentation. When I get that's the longest one. I see. I click. Okay, it goes further now, faster. Okay. And that's it. You can so I made it, and I can say thank you very much for your attention, and that's the end of my speech. In fact, I come back, of course, and let's start from the second slide. The second slide is just the response for my doubts, my thoughts, and also trying to find the etymology of the word renewable. So I'm treating them. I understand, and I will go through my speech of those references mainly. So ecological, which I found on many other papers as well, and that's also I found in one of the extra documents which I've got from Polish Composers Union as a main reference to my speech. So I became serious about this. So ecology is the first. Then historical reference is also quite interesting, because the word also translation to Polish, it has no one meaning. So I understand that the whole conference has also quite wide understanding of the term. Since I'm working with bioart, since I'm working with net art projects, and very much with the kinetic aspect of sounds and media, I put them on the same level. Then I will mention perhaps several times about my concept of meta-instrument and meta-space. In fact, whenever we are connecting together and we are doing something, in fact, not really musically, but in general in our life, I have a feeling that we are creating kind of a meta-space, moving and doing something. And the intercommunication between those elements creates a meta space, an active space, vibrating, falling, waving, and many other elements. So those main references are on the bottom of this website. And as I see, nobody stopped me, so everything is clear. Okay, so let's go with historical reference. And this is a short fragment of my piece called Switch It On, with a long time reference to Switch It On Bach by Walter Carlos, the famous LP with Johann Sebastian Bach, with a lot of cables and plugins to his dressing uniform. So I love this for decades, this electronic translation of Bach music. So it's quite close to me, since I studied organ first, then theory of music and composition. So I was playing organ in the church for many years, in academic church St. Anna in Krakow. So also playing Bach, Buxtehude, Pachelbel, many other Baroque composers. But here I can show you the fragment of my puppet object-based theater called Switch It On, 3 dots, because every performance I change the material which I'm triggering. I made them live. So all my gestures and movements are creating music. In fact, the music is pre-composed, but then it is performed by my kinetic actions over the surface. Okay, I stop. You should remember the previous slide, because I wrote Chopin, and I will not ask you like sometimes I ask you, did you recognize something? In fact, that's the Rain Prelude of Chopin inside, and that was my determination to hide it as much as possible. In fact, when you break the rhythms, you break the tempo of performance, and mainly you are changing piano sound to other sounds. Of course, you are out. In fact, that's you are out of recognition. You can't recognize. That was really important moment for me in the beginning of the 90s, to find the line when the original material became not anymore available, and then there was also matter of copyrights and the authorization. So authorization, identification was really the matter for me. So then I decided, yes, I can call it that is my piece, even that I use Chopin piece inside, because somebody can say that I destroy it or distract it or whatever. But this is one of the points which in a renewable music aspect, the heritage versus authorization versus identification. And then you can see another example, which is using, as you see, I put them already. I'm not making the exam or test with my students, but you can see the piece lighting. It has also very strong reference to the classical repertoire. So you see the material which is just directly chosen from Bach, the second suite, and on G string, the famous subject. But in fact, it's also triggered. So I remember the strong discussions during my PhD exam about this, because that was like do you like classical music and what is your reference? And then I said that, well, I'm using classical repertoire in this postmodern era. This is quite obvious. But how it is used? It is used in a kinetic way. This is like I imagine that this material is just like a sustained material, part of our culture, part of our heritage, but at the same time part of our background, part of our memory. And when we are escaping this music by performance in a space, that's a little bit different. So this is the renewable music concept with the Bach directly. Well, can you say quoted? I'm not sure. So this is the second example from historical background. And the last one is just very recent. That's Insomnia project initiated by Mateusz Zubik, a great young pianist from our Academy of Music. He came to me in May, June, and he told me that Golden Variations by Bach were composed as a commission from Kaiserling, Hermann Karl von Kaiserling, the deputy on the Russian deputy. His background was Baltic Germans coming several times to Poland. In fact, he made Stanisław August Poniatowski the last king to be elected. He was just very strong and amazing authority. He was teaching mathematics, logical, and many other subjects. But in fact, he had a problem with insomnia. He couldn't sleep. So he commissioned the work to Bach for the famous harpsichord Gottlieb Goldberg. And we don't know exactly when Bach composed in 1742 the piece, whether he could get sleeping or he was just spending a nice time during the night while Gottlieb Goldberg was playing the piece. So what is the point? Because Bach wrote about the piece that the piece R, 30 variations, and da capo R again on the end. It can be used as an open form piece in a way that it can be more than 30 variations. That's what Bach wrote. So Mateusz asked me whether I can compose the other variations. Can I compose more variations? Especially, he was especially interested to use AI, artificial intelligence. And I said, well, I cannot compose Bach, but I can try to make music which is similar. Then my concept was from the fact that when we say Goldberg variations, what is the natural reaction? Well, we know that it's Bach, but then if I would ask you to sing variation number 18, is anybody who can sing me variation number 18 now, just from heart? No. So even in our close, specialized, expert-like community, we are in trouble. So that was my entire point. I was coming to my class with a little bit less known Baroque repertoire, so composed old original pieces, and with already generated Baroque-like pieces, and made a test. So nobody knows anything. What is original, what is the copy, or what is the brand new AI-based piece. That was one of my main concepts. So I composed more than 50 variations, and then we played a concert 5 hours long. A kind of Baroque marathon was performed 30 of August this year, and by 8 pianists. Each of them prepared part of the original variations and the same number of artificial variations. So when we talk about after the concert, people are not able to recognize, and that was not the point. In fact, the point was to create this kind of amazing aura. In fact, the piece was performed on this clavier, so acoustic piano with the computer system built in, and those pure actions, kinetic actions on the keyboard from this clavier number 1 were transmitted over Starlink to Leipzig, to St. Thomas Kirche on the Bargrave. So in Leipzig, people could see the kind of piano roller keyboard without pianist. That was also quite special mission. What I can do, I can remind you the material which is the most known when we talk about Golden Variation. We know Glenn Gould playing from the Golden Variation, and this is the short fragment performed by him. And then I play another material generated, pre-composed, and then processed, transformed by me by artificial intelligence. So the next. Okay, so I especially choose the variation played by harpsichord, not by piano. In fact, as you know, the original Goldberg variations were composed for harpsichord. So then the timbre is more Baroque-like, but as you hear the piece is well, for me that's okay to make this Baroque mixed up over the concert. So there are many really amazing pieces generated by, but then I was using some other software, Klangio, to make this audio generated material in form of the score. And then the final version of the score, where I was using mainly Muse score, but in between the interactive program from 80s, created by David Ciccarelli, the same author of Max software. So that is still the program available, and I'm using for different purposes. So this is the short story. Here is already second minute of I Insomnia, the performance. And nobody knows whether she plays the Golden Variations or she plays. Dominika Peszko plays. He's one of those 8 pianists. And she made a very beautiful evaluation of the original material, also because that was also my request, to interpret this material, not to make them closer, but to be able to recreate the whole atmosphere. I like the project is quite open and has a lot of power to be used. That's a lot of also technical requirements to be. So we see that she's changing the paper, but we are not sure whether she. Okay, let's. Of course, this is Bach. So the previous one was generated by algorithms of artificial intelligence. Okay, let's go to the next one. That's what I mentioned. Spiral rotating means sometimes I'm talking about the very vortex-like geometrical or 3D forms which we are part of when we are using those things based on not either, both on the generated material and also perceived material, because I believe it that those elements are really integrated in such a project like this. Okay, let's go to another one. Now we skip to the list of global and net projects because they make us even the basic reference of ecology much more clear and also much more stronger. So as you see on the first position on the list is telephone concert. The concert we played in 80s, the beginning of 80s. This is a pre-internet era. But in fact, we connect 3 cities, Toronto, Warsaw, and Vienna, with 2 rooms. In one room in each of 3 cities was the ensemble playing, while on 2 other rooms there were ensemble played through telephone wire. So we interconnected those 3 cities together and we played live concerts using network, but not internet network. That's quite important. We used telephone lines in '83, and that was quite successful. I'm not on the way to play you this concert because then this is like an introduction to the subject of a global net art project. In 4 of December 1983, that was amazing event going on in 3 cities. Okay, next one, it's quite important because Global Mix I initiated in '98 as a collaborative composition available for hundreds composers. So I sent the letter to all my friends all over the world, more than 300, and I told them that I would like to make one mixed composition based on their individual short pieces up to 3 minutes. But the main condition is that they have to cut the copyrights to be part of this. So there was a manner of the property, because I found out in many cases, commissioned work, all pieces mainly, they are protected, but even they are protected before they are composed. So this is the story which I was dealing with in '98, because when you are able to do it, you are making your material free and you are make it to fly to the other people. But in this very project, the condition which you spent a time to decide whether you are doing this or not, is giving you the permission to all pieces. So you are cutting your copyrights, and then you are becoming the owner of all other pieces which are inside Global Mix. So when I did it, I was thinking that perhaps this is utopic, but then I've got a lot of pieces, a lot of people were happy. Some of them have some doubts about quality. We are using real audio, a low quality format of audio. But then whenever somebody asked me, I was explaining that the art is a matter of communication more than quality, especially in this project. So let's global mix it. Here is the fragment of my performance based on those short compositions. So I make a kind of collage. I've got the permission from...
Kompozycja zbiorowa Global Mix została zainicjowana w 1998 roku. Do ponad 300 osób wysłałem zaproszenie udziału w tym dość niecodziennym eksperymencie. Eksperyment polegał na tym, że kompozytorzy, autorzy zgodzili się przesłać krótkie fragmenty muzyczne, dźwiękowe z różnych źródeł, albo specjalnie pisane dla tego celu, albo fragmenty jakichś innych kompozycji.
Okay, even though I was explaining in Polish, I think that most of people are understanding Polish, but in fact I already explained the idea.
Działania Global Mix i całego projektu jest to, żeby...
Okay, I can stop this, gentlemen. We can go to another subject. The Global Mix, also like the other project I already explained, is available on my website, so that's easy to spend a little bit more time. Then I'm talking about things which were mentioned on the second slide: metakinesa, meta-instrument, meta-space. We are talking about still about how to build up the instrument, but also how to treat a space around us. So this is that's the idea from 2000. I've got the idea that I will rent a boat and I will sail the boat from Krakow to Baltic Sea with a group of artists. And I was thinking about improvising musicians and performers from the live arts, from the performance art area, to mix them together on the boat. So here is a graphic representation of the object moving on the water. The quite specific idea was to treat the object with the people on the object as an instrument. So in 2000, I created the project, the system, how to measure the natural parameters of the boat, like the distance to the left side of the river, the distance to the right side of the river, distance to the deep bottom of the river, the temperature of the water, temperature of the air, light in the day, in the night, the speed of the boat. All of them were translated as a concept, were translated to one composition of music available in one room on the boat. So all participants were able to come and check how the boat sound like. That's a very ecological, by the way, project, since we are observing environment while moving by the boat. So there were very special restrictions. For example, one that you cannot sail in the night. You should stop. You should. So for this moment, because that was like a many days journey as a concept through the Vistula River, and then I invented the method that we are putting the big white meteorological balloon above the boat, and during the night we project the silent movies somewhere in the middle of near some village, when we stop the boat, and then the musician play live music, very silent, because they doesn't want to disturb the environment. So that was the concept. And then during the day, after the breakfast, we go on to Sandomierz. Sandomierz was the first planet station. I was working with Zbigniew Warpechowski, since he is one of the most famous performer, a friend of mine. I was talking with him, and he was in charge of arranging. He was very happy with this project to arrange a side of the river when the boat came, and the boat then became a stage for the people on this symbolic port, like. So that was the idea. The second station was planned, let's say, Kazimierz Dolny nad Wisłą. The third one was Warsaw. In fact, we didn't realize it. So I use utopic in quotes for many of my projects which were never realized, but in fact they moved to the second life, they moved to virtual space, and then they are developed. And in fact, the art boat is quite different than I planned it 20 years ago, so 24 years ago. So that's a very special project which includes and mix ecology, the concept of time and space, because we are operating on a large scale. The most utopic idea was that we are putting this boat, disappeared in Warsaw, and then it goes up in Toruń, and then goes down and appeared in Gdańsk, because we have a problem to rent a boat for the whole trip. And then the idea was to move to Hel through the Baltic Sea. And on Hel, we had a crazy idea to put the mineral water from Puck Bay to open sea, to show that we are able to cut the piece of land with the city of Hel and to become Hel as an island. So to cut the peninsula in the symbolic way. So there were many other elements. In fact, we never realized it. On the second year, 2001, there was a big flood in Poland, and from ethical, moral point, we were not interested to make it on the. But that's a very special also consideration of the project, which sustained, and it's still on a standby mode, let's say. So perhaps it's still possible to realize it. There are similar projects all over the world, but we're even able to run it from Budapest, Bratislava, Vienna, on Donau River as well. So that's one of the quite intensive projects. Okay, next project from the same time. Since I didn't realize the art boat in 2000, and I've got from not Orange, not Idea, but Centertel. 24 years ago, one of the few cell phone company was Centertel. So we rented 16 mobile phones from them, especially for art boat. But since the rent was for 3 months, and I was in trouble to realize it, I made another project. This is GPS Art City. Those 3 pictures I show you. The first one is a map of Krakow city, but it's like a symbolic graphic representations of the city when you are landing by airplane or you are flying over the city by plane during the sunny day. Then I've got this vision that it looks like a pizza, quite nice cake, the land. So I decided to cut the map of Krakow for triangle slices, and I decided to make a separate recordings, field recordings from each of those slices to prepare a big city sampler. So that was the idea, that I'm starting the series of recording of different cities, audio and video, to create city sampler. So in fact, when you use the score, the map as a score, but it is working in a symbolic way. This is also site-specific projects, collection of sound, moving, and animations as well as part of this project. Then, how to perform it, how to play on the instrument, like city. Okay, the city is the instrument, and how to play on a city with the large collection of those sounds. We were using a car as a performer. We're using 3 technologies, GPS, GSM, and internet, as an important part of the instrument. So inside the car, we have a laptop with the mobile phone and GPS unit, which was able to capture the position of the car. And then when the car was moving over the city, it plays different structures. So that's how we play on the city sounds, later also on the video, during the live performance. The first performances of GPS art were fully internet performances. So you are going to the website and then you are listening to the city. Why from 2003 we're building up 4 screens, and people, the audience was inside, imagining that they are inside a car. What is quite important, the GPS trance, because that was the name for particular performances, were not a reproduction of the prepared material, rather controlling live by the car moving over the city, the material which was pre-recorded. So that's a very important issue. Okay, let's go to another one. Global Terrain, another utopic and utopic project with a very strong idea that when we look on the 3D map of our globe, of our Earth, I have imagination, then we can build up a 18 meters diagonal, the diameter, 18 meters diameter of the size of the 3D object, and we lift the receiver to the middle one, and when it shows the point of the map, he is inside. Look, the man is inside, the person is inside. In fact, this model is for one user. Then when he points those points, he or she opens the webcams. which are located in these places. So that's the way that you can be present in the same time in different locations. So that was the idea, my idea from 2007, very much connected with our renewable music on the basic level of territorial contact with our globe. That's why I put the globe on the grass. Also explaining that when you put this project, for example, in Krakow, the Krakow on the map is here on the bottom. Okay, the point, this map, this maquette, this artificial symbolic form should be on the ground. We can, if somebody is interested, we can talk about a little bit later. But that's quite. That's also a utopic project. Well, I was very close to realize it on Hala Gwardii in Warsaw during Warsaw Autumn Festival in 2007. But then we get very serious problem of technical with technical issue, technical requirements. It exists in model A as a 3D space, or like a cube with 4 walls, ceiling with the camera and projector, and then flat map of our world, like you remember perhaps from your schools. We have this mainly the map of all continents and all oceans in front of us as a 3D, as a 2D surface. So that is also possible to work like this. Then vertical orchestra, I will mention only that this very special large-scale project was the idea that try to imagine that the orchestra is on the stage for 100 years, but when try to imagine that we are shifting the orchestra to the vertical position, from horizontal to vertical. Then the percussion brass are lifted on the on the highest level, and then the string stays on the basic ground level. I was trying to put each musician to single windows of our Academy of Music. The building was the Academy of Music. The front wall of the building is very near to our pedestrian, beautiful green zone called Planty. I managed with the vice president of Krakow to cut the light over this over our building, like 300 meters. The whole region was planning to be dark, and then I was preparing the night concert, preparing this vertical stage and playing acoustic music through the window. So try to imagine the conductor is outside, musicians are inside the window, and each classroom we have musician on the window and the second person who switch the light in the room when the instrument play. So the concept was to make a visualization, very simple analog visualization of the music. So try to imagine Bolero by Ravel. It starts from one instrument, so one window is with the light, and then on the end the whole building is lighting. So the concept is mainly about the stage, the virtual stage, when you can perform either the classical music or topophonic repertoire, like Jonche by Xenakis, like Topophonica by Bogusław Szefer. And the third repertoire was the pieces which are composed specially for vertical orchestra, but starting from the light element. So I have the score with only with the marks when the light should be on what line of the score to create some drawing on this building. So when I want to write the letter A, I have to switch the light on certain rooms. So that was the beginning, the score with the light indication, and then the material of music is later. Okay, perhaps it's too much talking about. Okay, this is the project which we made together, initiated by Miłosz Uczyński, a friend of mine from Paris, the really amazing video artist. His motus interno is the idea dedicated to one beautiful building in Cascais in Portugal, the place where the Europe is finished, and then it starts the Atlantic Ocean, and that's the one beautiful building. So he make snapshots, photographies, and then in his small house and the territory in Bieszczady in Poland, he was making a natural plants on the ground with this shape of this building. With the ants, with some other animals, he spent many months to plant, to grow, to make organic maps, and then he recorded them, and then he created a video material to put as a video mapping over the original building in Cascais. I try to play it now, but to make it, I need to stop it for a short moment. I hope that I have it here. Okay. And then I share it. Now I share the whole screen. That would be the easiest way. Okay. Just a second. The whole screen is here. I did. I compose the music. Material is like 10 minutes, even if it was much more longer. So as you see, the building is growing with the plants, with the flowers, with the grasses, and in fact it goes in a very fast tempo, longer process, which was natural, longer process. So let's go to another part of this video. Let's give them the chance. Okay, maybe here, because he was putting this in the night to freeze it. He was using fridges. So, okay, that's the material. To break one surface, and then you see what was under the surface. With many ants. I have a clock in front of me, so I see that I have 11 minutes to the end. Okay, I stop it and I come back to the to my main. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I know why. Because perhaps like this. I can always come back to the main screen. Once more. We stopped here. Okay. once more. Yes, here it is. Because it was in full in playback mode, that's why Zoom didn't show it. I would like to check whether you have still organic mapping.
Tak.
Okay. So the next one is a project by my student, currently my assistant, Piotr Madej. I will not play it, but I will talk a little bit. His concept is to go outside of our Earth to create the solar system using the Astrolabe. Astrolabe is the name of the instrument invented in ancient time, but used by many astronomers, including Copernicus. So when you see the statue of Mikołaj Copernic, you see that he keeps something in his hand. This is not the Earth. This is not the globe. This is Astrolabe. So the instrument to measure the position of the planet, to measure the position of stars, and also the astral horizon. So Piotr create a replica of the Astrolabe using plastic glass, a very strong and firm material, and we use it as a controller. He built up 3D space, and we project the solar system inside, and on the middle part there was a Astrolabe which you can rotate, and in fact you could travel over the solar system. The most interesting part of this project is that we were using sonification of solar system, in fact of the space which is there. As you know, there's a vacuum, so the sound doesn't go. It cannot be transmitted over vacuum, but in our project could. So that was the idea, that when we are approaching Jupiter, for example, we are getting acoustic frequencies, as you know, from 16 hertz to 20,000 hertz, which are in fact generated by all our planets, all moons, all satellites around. So we were taking them in advance and then putting them inside this 3D space, interactive light space, and you could hear the harmony of spheres. That was the concept, to travel over the outer space and to listen how Jupiter or Neptune or our moon is propagated. It's many other things, because he was using in his system all cosmological systems before Copernicus, also Kepler, also Ptolemy. So that is a unique space. In fact, that's the moment, Mieczysław and all my friends, that I will send you my paper with all active links. As you see, when you have a underline, all those underlined titles, they have a link. So when you get this as a PDF, you can go to those references, okay? We have limited time, so, oh shit, why it stopped now? And I'm really troubled to come back now. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I have to stop. I think that that's the typical problem between sharing Keynote, which happened to me several times in the past. Now it should be okay. Okay. So the last part of my speech is going on from micro scale, so global net art project, to micro. So we go to the brain music concept. This is Albin Lucier playing his music for solo performer in 1965. We will not play it. And then you will see I've got this fascination from 2014. I made a lot of projects based on the biofeedback technology, capturing brainwaves live and convert them to different phenomena. So you have the diagram in front of you. You have those pieces which were using this technology also underlined. So when I send you, you can go there and you can check it. I will show you only short fragment of them because the subject, as you can imagine, is quite large. So in each slide I can stay hours and to talk about. So here is the overview over the brain art feedback as an art activity. I'm showing you the quite important elements when we go inside. Well, which is obvious for me, it's a little bit like we are going outside, because when we are focusing on certain elements, this spheric dimension, 3D dimension, and also the structure of solar system, other systems is quite similar to the neural network inside our brain. So that's why after years working now with artificial intelligence, I'm just imagining that I'm taking this the one part of the skeleton from my brain to another brain, and that's the intercommunication between them goes almost directly. So let's me show you the same story, but there are some captures, some snapshots from different performances. We are talking about brain kinetics. In fact, there's a paradox, because when you perform the pieces, I talked recently with Marcin Strzelecki, then in fact you don't see anything. There's no kinetics because you don't see what's going on inside. So in fact you have a frozen performer which don't do nothing. Sometimes it makes some strange gesture with his eyes, with his muscle on the face, which is typical, because then you are stimulating certain part of your brain, especially using raw data from your brain. Okay, then there's a schematic of semantic brain. For most of the technology, you are getting 8 independent waves. Delta is sleeping, zeta is between sleeping and being awake. Low alpha, high alpha is a low meditation relaxation. Then beta is, I'm now in beta phase, when the normal human activity is based mainly during the day, is based mainly on beta, but then high concentration is gamma. So there are frequencies from almost 0 hertz to 70 hertz. From beta, high beta, you can listen as a very low sound. So there's no logical translation between frequencies and the acoustic phenomena, but you can translate it. So I'm doing this during my performances. I explain people that in each speaker you listen different part of my brain activity, and in a symbolic way you can imagine that you are inside my brain. When you are, I'm here on stage, the speakers are around, people are inside. So that's how the schematic works. I show you another project, Double Brain, when I interconnect with Franciszek Karaszkiewicz over the large distances. In fact, I'm using my brain activity, controlling his media on his computer. He sent his brain activity to my computer. We are mixed. I'm the host on the stage. I show this performance on the screen, while Franek is mainly somewhere. When I'm in China or in Mexico, he's in different time zone. So that's also another beautiful spectacle. You have a list of 10 performances in different cities connected between also large subject. Next one, the reactive scores mapping, acousmonium, sensorium, feedback, tactile, haptic, and all elements which are inside this 3 big projects. That's the wind waves project for young orchestra, electronics and video. Many interactive and many improvised material. I was teaching kids and young orchestra from Radom, Oskar Koldberg music school. They are very open open for this kind of project, and that piece was commissioned. So this is like 1 hour long project with different waves: vertical, horizontal, approaching wave, entropy wave, rotation wave, and neuron wave on the beginning, on the end, where musicians are playing live my brain activity, okay, as a score.
Marek, I am very sorry. I am very, very sorry to stop you because
at any moment. I was waiting for this.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thank you very, very much for such an interesting speech. I don't know what to say after such a speech. I should say something, but I could only say that it was all problems of this renewable music, and it was from the cruise of on the Vistula River to solar space. It was,
but there was Bach on the beginning.
yeah, it was, and I see two two ways of understanding of this renewable music. One is Bach. It is quite renewable old music, old music. It was fantastic. And the second way of understanding of our problems is ecology. It's to reach environment. All this talking about solar system, about this, it is in fact reaching to environment.
The slide which you have now in front of you, this is our internal environment. There are bacteria living in our body, and this is the diploma by Nina Shukawa, Microbiological Soundscapes. We are working with Lactobacillus, which is living as an independent civilization in our belly. All processes in our body are in fact quite much controlled by them. So that's why they are called, this part of our body is called like a second brain, because in fact our main brain follows the activity inside. It's not able to control it. What you eat, what you drink, how much you relax, it's very much connected with the processes in your body. So in fact, we discovered that by Japanese papers that those bacteria, when they are growing, the colony of them, they are growing, they are whistling with ultrasonic. So I called those whistling as a voice of them, and we imitated them. Finally, we played the concert, ultrasonic concert, dedicated to bacteria which are living inside our body. So it's like a famous science fiction movie, the third meeting, the close meeting of the third kind. You understand? That's we are able not only drinking yogurt with the bacteria after the biotic therapy, but you can get them in contact. So in fact, when we send different frequencies in the laboratory to them, they were growing fastest with 20 kilohertz. So I accept it as a communication. We communicate with them. That was the idea with this this project.
Thank you, Marek. We could listen to you for hours.
Okay.
Still,
I send you the paper with those activities, and that will be perhaps the easiest way.
Okay. So only one question, if anybody of you would like to ask.
I ask or you ask?
We have one question. We have
yes,
so please.
Hello, everybody, and hello, Marek. Thank you very much for your very interesting contribution. We saw. Hey, it's to see you. It was amazing to see, how that it's such a wide environment that you really take to your music and interact with it. I had actually one question, actually two, but I don't know if there is a time. This vertical orchestra, because you said the instrumentalists were positioned vertically, and was it related to performance of a particular score? How it was made? Because, also when people sit so far, how they can see the conductor that is outside, because the visibility of the conductor, I was thinking, is it important that the piece is performed in a synchronized way? Because in a way, the order, I saw it's important, like you put into the question the order, like the score is vertical, like the conductor actually sees the music, like the score has a vertical order of instruments, and they see
logical. I can skip your question because I understand what you are talking about. It was prepared, in fact, and we had to quit it because it was prepared for the opening of the academic year on the 220 years anniversary of our Academy of Music. That's why I dedicated the piece to our orchestra, but then I've got the message from the conductor that will be only half of the orchestra available, and I quit. I said no, don't do it, because that's the disaster. It's better. I'm flexible to more extreme ranges, but not in this particular project, especially when the project is premiered. You can spell it. You can destroy it very easily. Okay, so the question is
but it is interesting because it's like orchestra body and the architecture, of course. And there was this one architect who did something like playing all the music that was played in one building from all the windows, but it was very interesting. And I also wanted to ask you about this project in collaboration, which you had projection of the organic grow on the facade. And actually yesterday we had interesting lecture about the grow, and there was a grow. But I think you didn't hear it, but it would be so interesing to have the keynote speaker from yesterday and keynote speaker from today that they discuss.
My conference. I was running my reset conference still. There was the third day of my conference. Okay, so very quickly, I try to make it quickly or not. Can I answer to Jagoda?
No. But it would be very, very interesting to compare comparison Marek keynote with Mr. Salomon's keynote. The growth, and Marek is not the growth.
Yeah, like because you mentioned so many times also the organicity. It is in many music of yours, like this organic element, I think, in different forms. But it would be something really interesting to really talk. And it interests me also personally. So I would love to hear this discussion between you two. But thank you so much for your very interesting contribution.
I'm a very good messenger all the time. So
okay.
Marek, thank you. Thank you very much.